Yul Brynner. The name alone conjures a striking image: a gleaming bald head, a magnetic presence, and a pair of eyes that commanded every stage and screen they touched. To millions, he was the king of Siam, the pharaoh Ramses, the immortal figure who redefined strength and authority in Hollywood. But behind that polished facade lived a man wrestling with secrets, forbidden desires, and a truth he kept hidden until his dying breath. In October of 1985, news broke that Brynner had succumbed to cancer at the age of 65. The world mourned the loss of a legend. Yet what few realized at the time was that Brynner left behind not only a cinematic legacy, but also a confession that would shake Hollywood's carefully guarded illusions. Before his death, he revealed the names of powerful men, stars the world adored, with whom he had carried on hidden affairs. Affairs that unfolded in whispers behind locked doors, away from the harsh spotlight of an industry built on appearances. But to understand why Brynner's secret carried so much weight, we must return to the beginning, to the boy who would one day transform into a king of stage and screen. Yul Brynner was born in 1920 in Vladivostok, Russia. His real name, Yul Brynner, reflected his mixed heritage, part Russian, part Mongolian. His childhood was marked by turmoil. His father abandoned the family when Yul was just a boy, leaving his mother to raise him alone. She fled with him to Harbin, China, where Yul discovered music, theater, and the intoxicating escape of performance. In the glow of stage lights, he found a refuge from hardship. By the early 1930s, fate carried him to Paris. For the first time, he experienced the bohemian energy of Europe, a world of jazz clubs, smoky bars, and avant-garde theaters. He joined the circus, swinging high on the trapeze, only to suffer a devastating fall that shattered his body and nearly ended his dreams. Recovery was long and painful, and during that period Yul turned to opium, beginning a battle with addiction that would haunt him for years. But Paris also offered connections that changed his life. Through the art world, he encountered the French visionary Jean Cocteau, 30 years his senior, both a mentor and a lover. Cocteau opened doors to Picasso, to the salons of Parisian high society, but their relationship was volatile, consumed by jealousy, addiction, and unhealed wounds. It was the first of many complicated loves that shaped Yul's hidden world. Later, in America, Brynner's career exploded. He was magnetic, powerful, irresistible. Yet behind the curtain, his most intimate relationships were the ones no studio could ever allow to see daylight. One of the most surprising names linked to him was Paul Newman. Two first crossed paths in the late 1950s. Newman, then the golden boy of Hollywood masculinity, was married to actress Joanne Woodward. But in quiet corners away from the red carpet, Newman and Brynner formed a passionate bond. They would retreat to Newman's Connecticut farm, sharing wine, conversations, and moments of tenderness. Yet the affair left Joanne devastated. One evening, with tears streaming down her face, she whispered to Newman, "I've lost you, haven't I?" The weight of her sorrow ended the affair, leaving Brynner with yet another scar, proof that even the deepest loves could collapse under the pressure of secrecy. And Paul Newman was not the only giant drawn into Brynner's orbit. Marlon Brando, rebellious and magnetic in his own right, once called Yul his soulmate. They starred together in the 1965 film Morituri, their on-screen chemistry matched by a fiery connection behind the scenes. Nights were spent in endless debates about politics, art, and the fractures within their own souls. But two titans could not coexist for long. Their egos clashed, their tempers flared, and eventually silence replaced intimacy. Their parting was quiet, but the loss lingered for both men. Backhand index pointing right, here's a question for you. Do you think Hollywood's greatest stars, like Brynner, Brando, or Newman, could have lived more honest lives if the industry and society of the time had been more accepting? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious to know what you think. Other lovers followed, each shaping him in different ways. Actor Herb Hatfield, remembered for The Picture of Dorian Gray, offered Yul companionship but ultimately chose ambition over love. The Argentine writer Manuel Puig became infatuated with Brynner after a chance meeting in a Parisian café, a brief but unforgettable connection that Puig would later describe as like hearing a piece of music so beautiful, it could only be played once. Why then did Yul wait until the end of his life to reveal these names? The answer lies in fear, and in the crushing power of Hollywood's golden age. In the 1950s and 1960s, being gay in Hollywood was a career death sentence. Studios maintained strict contracts, arranging fake relationships with women and orchestrated photo shoots to protect reputations. During the McCarthy era, when the Lavender Scare targeted the LGBTQ community, thousands lost jobs and livelihoods simply due to suspicion. A single rumor could end a career overnight. Yul knew this. To survive, he crafted an image of strength and masculinity so convincing that the truth of his private life remained buried. Still, his professional achievements were extraordinary. His portrayal of King Mongkut in The King and I became one of the most iconic performances in Broadway history, earning him a Tony Award and later an Academy Award for the film version. He embodied Pharaoh Ramses in the Ten Commandments, and his commanding presence lit up every stage he touched. He performed the role of the king more than 4,600 times across his lifetime, a record that cemented him in history. Stage, his life was no less dramatic. He married 4 times, fathered 5 children, and even became a humanitarian, serving as an ambassador for refugees through the United Nations. Yet the secret romances, the ones he could not fully acknowledge, remained the hidden chapters of his story. When lung cancer finally claimed him in 1985, Brynner left behind more than roles and accolades. He left behind a message. In a haunting anti-smoking PSA recorded before his death, he looked straight into the camera and said, "Now that I'm gone, don't smoke whatever you do. Just don't smoke." It was his final gift to the world, honest, raw, and unforgettable. And perhaps that is the essence of Yul Brynner's legacy. He was both a product of his time and a man ahead of it. A performer who lived under the weight of silence but whose brilliance could not be dimmed. His story is one of contradiction, the king who ruled the stage and the man who spent his life hiding the deepest parts of himself. Yet in revealing his truth at the end, he proved that even in a world unready to accept it, authenticity has the power to outlive secrecy. Yul Brynner remains not just a legend of Hollywood, but a reminder of the quiet battles fought in the shadows of fame.